was marriage life? Was it smooth sailing?
When we had our first son, one day she came home late, and I was against her coming home late. The moment she knocked on the door late in the evening, I slapped her. Later on, my heart
Sank.
ended up in a small meeting. One thing I never found myself going through, my health has never been something to worry about. It works wonders for someone who runs.
Yes. In a family setup,
Yes.
who is a man? Or what should a man be?
A man plays a very big role in a family. If I look at the Bible, when the man is in good books with God, the things he does do not only bring up blessings just to himself, but to every member of the family. The other thing one needs to do is give yourself sufficient time to sleep. If you are able, 8 hours.
Thank you. Preach. There are people who beat me on that case. I tell people, you need to take time and sleep. But
Yes.
they say that sleep is for the poor, or it is for the people who have no direction in life. Say 3 hours is enough. What would you tell such people who don't take sleep seriously?
Keep pushing. Keep pushing.
Hakuna maji.
Way back in 1969, I used to go to work, and sometimes the motorbike I used would not work. So I ended up walking a long distance to arrive home. And that is the time when I discovered by running I was able to run a long distance. And then 1 year later, I found myself participating in a walkathon in a foreign country.
How old were you at 69?
In 1969, I was 19 years.
19. So you started at 19. That is when
Yeah.
you discovered.
I was born in 1949.
Yes.
So in 1969, I was around 18 or 19, somewhere there. And so at the age of 18, I got interested in running, but not competitively. And in 1970, I participated in a long distance walking, and instead of walking the distance, I decided to run. The distance was almost 33 miles.
That's roughly 50 kilometers, thereabout, 55 thereabout.
Yeah, around there, yeah. And I felt very encouraged because I was the first finisher. So I decided to get involved in a running club. And this is where I met a friend of mine who had been running for a longer time. And we would go for training, we would go cross-country running, we would go road running, and I never stopped since then. I participated more in it was called Miles for Millions. We were raising money for the poor. And every distance you ran, we'll make some money to give to the poor. So I repeated the run again in another year. Then I also registered myself with other champions who were running at that time during my time.
Such as?
One of them was called Toronto Striders.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go for training in running, speed work, cross country running, road running, running on the track. And I continued. And later on, way back in 1972, I had the desire to join the team that would be going to Munich to participate in Olympics. And I wanted to participate as a marathon runner, 26 miles. And we went for trials. That was here in Kenya. And unfortunately, four other athletes beat me. I finished the marathon, but I didn't win. Since then, I have never stopped running, although I don't run competitively. After getting much involved in office work, usually I would run in the evening.
When you talk about office work, what exactly were you doing?
I was working for Lufthansa German Airlines, and I was stationed in the city of Nairobi as a personnel officer, and once in a while I would be involved in preparation of books of accounts. And I worked there for 22 years. And every time I used to go to the office, in the evening I used to run every alternate day or every other day. I never stopped running.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been like that for many years till today.
Then that makes sense why you would beat a young man like me on the field. Because I was wondering, Mzee has been running for how long? Because the kind of speed, and at no point did you stop to, catch a breather. You are constantly moving. And the initial agreement was we are doing 7 kilometers.
Yes.
We are going to Karatina.
Yes.
When we got to Karatina, you're telling me, okay, now we are going back.
Yeah, we are going back. Start running back, yeah.
Oh, hell no. I'm sorry, me, I had to cheat. I had to get in the car and say, kumbe, all this time, you have been running for collectively over how many years?
From 1969
Yes.
till to date, that's close to over 50 years.
Over 50 years. I can't
have been
compete
running.
with that. I can't compete with that. But I'm sure with consistency, and I'm sure I can get to that point.
Yes, you can. No doubt about that.
Yes.
But the best thing one should do first and foremost is know why you want to be a runner.
For you, why did you want to be a runner?
There is one person who inspired me very much.
Mm-hmm.
A man who made wonders whenever he went out to compete against other stars in the world. And that was Kipchoge Keino.
Kipchoge Keino.
He was my star. So that is how I got interested. But later on, I came to learn that running indeed comes with a lot of blessings. So I never stopped running. And my approach to life changed positively. One thing I never found myself going through, my health has never been something to worry about. It works wonders for someone who runs.
Yeah, speaking about health,
Yes.
have you ever been diagnosed with, you know, there are those health issues that come with age?
Yes.
Blood pressure, diabetes, you know, such and such.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten any of?
Yes, there were times when I had blood pressure, when things were not going so well for me in life. And whenever the doctor told me my BP was high, the first thing I would intensify is to jog, drink water, and the jogging aspect helped me to relax, helped me not to see my problems as if it is the end of the world. Jogging helped me to belittle my problems. And then in a matter of time, my BP would go back to normal. So the other thing, of course, one needs to do so as to succeed in running or jogging, you would have to avoid smoking, avoid drinking alcohol. You would have to be also the kind of person who doesn't use a lot of salt in your food. Take plenty of fruits and have a positive approach to life. Being prayerful is also extremely very important.
Yeah, man.
But not only that, when it comes to running, the other things one needs to do. Simple exercises that give you strength are very important for your bones. Also, if you make a regular habit of doing exercises like planking, they help your body to become more coordinated and you overcome backbone issues. So with these few exercises, plus jogging every other day, and consistency in running, one can do wonders. And when you run, don't just run on flat areas. Climb hills, go down hills. They help to strengthen the bones that are needed for your jogging or for your doing exercises. The other thing one needs to do is give yourself sufficient time to sleep. If you are able, 8 hours.
Thank you. Preach. There are people who beat me on that case. I tell people, you need to take time and sleep. But
Yes.
they say that sleep is for the poor, or it is for the people who have no direction in life. Say 3 hours is enough. What would you tell such people who don't take sleep seriously?
Sleep is very, very important. It is just as important as doing those exercises. And without proper sleep, sufficient sleep, even exercises will not work out very smoothly. Failure to sleep sufficiently can cause high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And if one is experiencing high blood pressure, it is dangerous to go and do exercises. Because when you get involved in exercises, BP has a tendency to rise.
Yes.
And then it will come down later on when you have stopped running or when you have stopped exercises.
Mm.
But you can avoid this by making sure that you cultivate sufficient sleep for yourself on an everyday basis.
Mm. You even become productive when
And you become productive.
Yes.
And you're able to be very vibrant.
Yes.
So sleep is extremely crucial.
Mm-hmm.
And also, your muscles need rest. When you give your body sufficient time to rest, next time you go back to doing exercises, you are able to do them efficiently and smoothly because you had given your muscles some rest. And that's very, very important.
I love that. Let me ask you. You
Yes.
see, I mean, you said part of the tips.
Yes.
Number one, stop drinking
Yes.
alcohol.
Yes. Stop smoking. Yes.
You know, these things that, in fact, most of the young people indulge in.
Yes.
Would I be correct to say that, Mzee, you've never smoked, you've never taken alcohol?
Some years back, I used to work in a bar.
Mm.
And I had this desire to want to taste alcohol.
Yes.
And my first bottle was Pilsner. I took a sip. I didn't like it. I didn't even go for the second sip.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Because I did not like the taste.
It was bitter.
I just didn't see anything good in it.
Mm.
And then later on, I came to learn that whenever we abuse whatever we take, if we abuse it or misuse it, it has negative side effects. And I have seen a lot of people suffer from the effects of drinking alcohol.
Mm-hmm. And smoking?
And I have also seen people who become addicted in smoking.
But you've never tried smoking yourself?
I have never. Actually, no. Actually, I smoked my first cigarette. It was an SM.
Mm.
When I puffed and then took another, I puffed another one. I found myself with too much saliva in my mouth, and I didn't want it anymore. Since then, I abandoned smoking and drinking.
Kila kitu ilikukata.
I refused to take alcohol.
Now, James,
Yes.
I want to know your story.
Yes.
Now, aside from running,
Yes.
because, you know, a lot of revelations are coming in that you also worked in a bar, you worked in an office. You know,
Yes.
people who run, there's this stereotype that wanakuanga kwa jeshi, they work in the army or they're police officers. And it's true, you'll see actually most of our runners, they are from the forces.
Yes.
But, you know, it's interesting now to know that you don't have, am I right to say you've never worked in the forces?
Yes, you're right.
I'm right. So it's you know, it's different when it comes to you. But now I'd like to know who James is. Aside from running, how was life growing up as a kid? Your life, how you got your lovely wife, your family, and all that. And there's a point you also threw in. You know, life is also yeah, full of ups and downs.
Yes,
And you see, this is physical health
yes,
that we've actually been talking about.
yes,
And there's something called mental health.
yes.
So even as you're growing up, were there things that affected your mental health? I mean, how was it, and how did you overcome it? And would you say that running also helped you overcome mental health issues? But let's start from you growing up. How was life?
Life was very challenging for me and for my elder brothers. I was born in 1949,
Pre-colonial period.
pre-colonial period. And in 1952, pardon me, I was 3 years old. And both my parents were arrested
By the colonial masters.
by the colonial masters.
Why were they arrested?
They were put in detention
Suspicion of
because
them being normal?
they appeared to be a threat to the British, to the ruling British people during the struggle for independence. And then myself and my other brothers, we found ourselves looking for accommodation wherever we could get it. And we went through a period of staying in one place. After some time, we go to another place. And at that time, people were very much eager to help one another. People were very kind. They offered accommodation. They were ready to help whenever they saw that you needed help. And my brothers and I lived in several homes. And those days, we used to be very happy if you were told, would you like to sleep underneath our bed? And to us, that was something very, very, very comfortable for us.
Under the bed.
Under the bed, given the circumstances, instead of sleeping out in the cold, and someone tells you, just sleep under our bed, we welcomed it. And we went through that period for quite a long time. And by the time I was 7 years, the same people helped us. They helped me to start my education. I went to Standard 1 in 1957. And I went on, I finished my primary school, and then I joined Starehe Boys Center.
Wow. You're an alumni of Starehe. The
Yes.
great Starehe.
In fact, we were the pioneers of the secondary school in Starehe Boys Center under the leadership of the late Jeffrey William Griffin. I was there for 4 years. And then I left. And then I went to work for a club. And in this club, in 1969, I used to organize sports days, and I also used to supply drinks to those who would be members of the club. And that's where I had, as I said earlier,
That's where
the
you
chance
tasted
to
the Pilsner.
taste Pilsner.
Yes.
After that, In fact, while I was working for the club, my employer had supplied me with a motorbike. And once in a while, the motorbike would stop working, would be kaput, if I may say so.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to run all the way home. That is how I started running. Then, after 1969, I got an opportunity. I went to Canada. And there I studied business administration.
Who took you to Canada?
I had some sponsors who sponsored me.
Were they missionaries or?
No, they were a Canadian couple who helped me out.
Mm.
And that is where I actually had a chance to participate more in running, as I said before.
So you compete? Did you compete? Get a chance to compete in Canada as you were
Yes.
studying? Mm-hmm.
While I was there, I used to compete on the track and field. I used to run 1 mile, 800 meters, 10,000 meters, 5,000 meters. Then I also used to participate in road racing and cross-country running. And I also got involved in running marathons. Those days, people are not awarded in a big way. But the desire to run was still there.
Did you ever win one of these races in Canada?
Actually, I never won any.
Mm-hmm.
Top
3?
I would come, like, there was a time when I participated in a cross-country championship. And I was number 4 in the Toronto district. I also, sometimes I would win 1 mile. Actually, I was never a very outstanding runner
Mm-hmm.
compared to people of my time at that time. Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, my interest in running has never stopped since then. Then, in 1972 to 73, I was back in Kenya, and that's when I later on joined Lufthansa, German Airlines.
Yeah, so you completed your studies in Canada?
I had 1 more year to finish.
Mm-hmm. Then what happened?
And then there was a financial crisis. Mm. So I found myself coming back.
So at that time, were the sponsors still?
The period which they had offered to help came to an end. And I had no choice but to come back.
Mm. You didn't get an opportunity to work while studying? Because I see a lot of people there's that option. You can study and at the same time work.
Yes, I had done some part-time jobs, but they didn't give me enough income to sustain my life in that foreign country. So in the end, I had to come back. Yeah. And then in 1972, in the month of July, that's when I joined Lufthansa airline, where I worked for 22 years. And 1983, I met my wife.
Spot on. How did you meet her? That's the juicy part now. I'm waiting. How was it? Did you meet her at a club, at a bar, at a matatu? And what was your pickup line?
The days when I was still in secondary school, I had made friends with a young man by the name of Simon Gaduku. And one day I paid a visit to him. And when I entered his house, a lady was staying with him who was a friend of his wife. And I was welcomed there with a cup of tea, and we chatted.
She's the one who welcomed you with a cup of tea? Or your friend?
My friend's wife,
Uh-huh.
in collaboration with this lady,
Yes.
who was to be introduced to me later on,
Uh-huh.
prepared me a cup of tea, and we were introduced by my friend, and she was involved in tailoring business. So on the first day when I met her there, I realized I had some interest in her. And I found myself visiting that home more often.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The magical moment.
And before I knew it, I was dating her. And our friendship became deeper and deeper. And later on, I found myself with her in Muranga, being introduced to my parents-in-law to be. So we started living together, and within a short space of time, our firstborn was born, who is now a graduate of the University of Nairobi, and a certified public accountant, CPA, and a recognized auditor.
Wow.
And we lived together for almost 40 years.
40 years of marriage.
Yes.
How was marriage life? Was it smooth sailing? Mulikuwa mnapigana sometimes? Were there fights here and there?
That's a very good question.
Yes.
Thank you.
Did she
When
ever
we-
pack her bags and leave and say, now you, James, me, I'm done with you, me, I'm going back home? Yeah?
I praise the Lord that I never found myself at loggerheads with my wife to a point where she would say, I'm leaving you.
Yeah, mzee. What's the secret?
It has never happened
What?
up to the time when she passed away.
Mm-hmm.
There was one thing I learned. When we had our first son, one day she came home late, and I was against her coming home late. The moment she knocked on the door late in the evening, I slapped her. And I insisted on saying that she should stop coming home late. Later on, my heart
Sank.
ended up in a small meeting,
Kajiita mkutano.
and I regretted doing that. And I say to myself, violence does not and will never help to communicate. Communication is more effective if it is done without physical violence. If one is always reasonable, he will listen to the other party, and the other party will also listen to the other one.
Mm.
And I say to myself, I will never hit my wife again. But whenever she made me annoyed, or I made her annoyed, we would just sit together and talk, ready to say sorry if you are the one who offended the other person, ready to reconcile. One thing that is very important in marriage is to learn to put up with one another. If you have offended your wife, apologize and do your best not to repeat whatever wrong you have done. And the same thing for the wife. If she has annoyed you, be tolerant. Remember, you, the husband, you are not so perfect.
Mm.
So, the ability to forgive one another, the ability to be humble to one another, plays a very big role in strengthening a family. Love between a married couple works wonders. It binds a family together, and that family becomes strong. So, over the years, I would annoy my wife, and then I would find myself saying sorry to her, and she would also forgive me. And we lived like that, forgiving one another, humbling ourselves before one another, and by so doing, we were able to overcome most of the obstacles which confront families, which actually bring about the bringing down of a family.
Yeah.
Also, it's very important for a family to learn to use whatever resources they have wisely, so that there is always availability of funds to finance the day-to-day expenses of a family. So no child misses education. No child misses the necessities of life. So we lived like this for many years. We educated our children, and I praise the Lord that also the second born is a certified public accountant and also a qualified auditor. And our youngest son is studying to become a structural engineer.
Wow.
He is about to go to university, and he only needs 2.5 years so that to become a structural engineer. And I praise the Lord.
Now that brings me to a question that I want to engage with you a little bit deeper.
Yes.
And I like it that you are a father of
3 boys.
3 boys.
Yes.
And I've noticed that, you know, there are a lot of values that, you know, you have pulled from life itself.
Yes.
And also from religion.
Yes.
And spirituality.
Yes.
Now there's a question I love asking.
Yes.
I ask it a lot. In a family setup.
Yes.
Where, okay, these days we say a man is the head.
Yes.
Of the house.
Yes.
A man is this and this.
Yes.
So in a family setup.
Yes.
Who is a man? Or what should a man be?
A man plays a very big role in a family. If I look at the Bible, when the man is in good books with God, the things he does do not only bring up blessings just to himself, but to every member of the family. For example, if you look at the times of Noah in the Bible, Noah was very obedient, very faithful, and at that time, the rest of the world was annoying God because they were very sinful. And God recognized Noah and was asked to build the ark. And to cut a long story short, after they survived it, it's not just Noah alone who actually got blessed, but also his children and his wife. All because Noah had pleased the Lord.
True.
So the man in a home plays a very big role in moving forward smoothly and with the blessings of God. So, when a person doesn't bother about cultivating a relationship with God, and he is the man, he actually makes it difficult for his family to move on smoothly. It's very, very important that man makes sure that his relationship with God is always sustained.
I love it. Relationship with God.
Yes, if you look also at the time when God was about to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, Abraham's nephew by the name of Lot met with those who had been given duty, the angels, to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. To cut a long story short, Lot was kind to those angels, not knowing they were angels. And these angels recognized that Lot had welcomed them very warmly, even to a point of allowing his own daughters to be misused by those people who had actually practicing homosexuality.
Yeah.
And in the long run, Lot and his family were actually not affected by in the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. So here again you see, because Lot had pleased the Lord, he also helped his own family to escape that destruction. So it's very important for man to be exemplary and make sure that he humbles himself before God.
Yes, there's actually a lot of truth in that statement, because even the same comes, it's true when it comes to sinning. And, with sin, you're cursed, you and your generation up to the 5th generation to come.
Yeah.
And the same goes for blessings.
Yeah.
You're blessed, you and your generations
Yes.
and generations to come. So I really love that statement.
There's
I
another-
think I have something now to go home with.
Yes.
Go back,
Yes.
cultivate that relationship
Yes.
with God.
Yes.
Another preacher once said that you see plants, they come from the ground.
Yes.
If you pluck a plant from the ground,
Yeah.
it dies.
Yes.
If you take a fish from the waters,
Yeah.
it dies.
It dies.
Now, as human beings, as men, where did we come from? From God. So if we are out of God,
Yes.
then we die.
Yes.
It's a good lesson. I love it. Let's talk about discipline, James.
Yes.
3 boys.
Yes.
And with you guys being our fathers,
Yes.
and most of the stories that we tell out there
Yes.
is how we were beaten,
Yes.
how we were disciplined,
Yes.
corporal punishment. How did you discipline your boys when they were growing up?
When it comes to disciplining children, the best starting point is we parents should become friends with our children. And we should make sure that on a day-to-day basis, we sit together, eat together, and discuss the politics of the day with the children. We are supposed to make sure that we are friendly to our children as parents. This is very, very important, because when your child realizes that you are his friend, he will feel free to tell you on a day-to-day basis all kinds of different situations he has met. If, for example, your own 3-year-old child comes to you and says, "Daddy, I didn't know that marijuana tastes like this. I had a puff today, you know.
Has any of your sons ever told you that?
Actually, he has never done that. But the other things he has told me,
Yes.
yeah. And one very, very important thing is because he feels free, he'll tell you his experience. Some of the experience that you'll have gone through are very good, and then you as a father or a mother, you tell the child, oh, that one is very good. Continue with it.
Mm.
But if your child comes and tells you something that is bad, and he doesn't know it's bad, and for example, this child who will probably come and tell you, I didn't know marijuana tastes like that. You see, you as the father, you say it's a good opportunity to tell him how bad that drug can destroy him. And by explaining it to him, with him understanding, he will never want to go into that thing again.
So basically that's how you've brought up your sons, creating
Discussion.
a friendship with your children.
Yes.
And with that, you've been able to align them
Yes.
in the right direction.
Yes.
I love it. Let me ask, in all this...
and by the way, by so doing, if you are with your child on a day-to-day basis, and I would encourage any parent to ensure that he is with the child up to the time of leaving the secondary school, so that by that time he is 18 years. And if you have been having regular contact and you have sustained your friendship with that child, you will have counseled him on a day-to-day basis. And the chances are that he will never go astray. And of course, you being the father, you have to be exemplary to the child. Because your own son or your own daughter believes that the way you do things is the correct way. He or she is looking up to you. So we have to be exemplary to children, and this way they are able to succeed in their lives and be able to fulfill the things that God created them for.
Yeah. 70 years plus
Yes.
of life.
Yes.
Do you have any regrets?
Yes. While my children were younger, every time they annoyed me, I used to beat them. And then after some time, I realized beating is not the answer. It is discussion and warming up friendship.
Is it the same time as the moment that you slapped your wife as well? During that same period?
Actually, I continued for another 2 years. Then I said, no more fighting.
No more fighting. Even with your children?
Even with my children. So fighting was not a vocabulary in my family. That's how we grew together.
So that's the only thing you regret?
I praise the Lord because none of them smokes. None of them drinks alcohol. We are all born-again Christians, including myself. So was my wife. And God has given me very loving children. very loving children. I say that with a lot of pride for them, and I thank the Lord.
I love it. Young men,
Yes,
there are a lot of things that we go through.
yes,
One among which you find yourself going through something and you think you're the only one going through it. Number 2, there's peer pressure. Number 3, with the advent of technology, Facebooks and the like, social media sites and all that, we're exposed to, now we can see other people's lives. There's that pressure to be like so and so and all that. And some of us give into that pressure because we try to compare our lives with somebody else's life. Many of us have grown up in families where single parenting, you know, like single parent kind of families. Many of us have not had father figures. So we haven't had that touch with masculinity and what it takes to be a man. And so that now you find that a lot of us cannot handle so many things that the society throws at us. And it's good that I'm seated with you, and there's a lot of wisdom that is, you know, flowing from you. For the young men out there who are going through different issues,
and committing of suicides.
yes, and the suicides and all that, what is that one thing that you would want to tell them? Some words of encouragement, wisdom. I'm looking for wisdom.
Yes.
They need that wisdom.
Yes.
What would you tell them?
First of all, God loves us 100%. And this 100% never goes down. Even when you offend God, His love for you is never reduced. It's always 100%. So there is hope for all of us. And with God around, nothing is impossible. All things are possible. Even to the one who is about to commit suicide, even to the one who is looking at life in a very negative way, one thing I would like to say is to the person who is contemplating on suicide, the solution is to let him have access to someone he can talk to. Most people who commit suicide, they do so because maybe the situation they are in, they are worried if they reveal it to other people, they will laugh at them.
Especially men. And
Especially
we have
men.
that problem.
Yes. And if only these people could be given a chance in a way that they are able to voice what they are going through to someone they are sure that he will not laugh at them or go and tell other people so that it ends up being a public issue. These people, if they would have a chance like that, talking to someone, in most of the cases, 95% of the cases, maybe even more, they will not commit suicide. These people are looking for someone to talk to, someone who will listen, and in the course of it, they are counseled. And they will even come to learn that there are so many people who probably go through the same situation and they overcome them so easily by doing A, B, C, D.
Mm-hmm.
So there should be a way of counseling people who feel that they are very desperate. Then something else. All young people should first of all feel proud that they are young and they have the strength to shape this world in a way that it becomes even better. They have the energy. And the government should encourage them to discover those chances so that they are able to do the things they are able to do. And parents should also make sure that children never leave their homes without at least having learned a career of their choice, a career which will enable them to make money, a career which they will enjoy, and the moment they implement that career, they will be vibrant, they will be busy, being productive, being useful to the members of society, and feeling useful, and that gives them satisfaction. As long as people are given a chance to discover their talents and their careers, there are so many things they can do in this world.
That's true. Allow me to ask. I asked you the one thing that you regret.
Yes.
In your 70 plus years of life.
Yes.
Now I'm very curious to know that one thing. It could be two. Feel free. That you feel most proud of. That when you look back at that moment, you can't help but smile. That one thing that makes you happy. You just look back to that memory and you just say, wow, I had a good one. Take me back to that moment. What was it?
The day when I came to realize who my wife was, I was very happy. And as I said before, my wife introduced me and my family to Christianity.
Wow.
And today I'm missing my wife. And in fact, life is not the same. And even though I might have a lot of things that make me happy, I still wish she was around. So all those 40 years, almost 40 years we've lived together, they were very happy moments.
Mm-hmm.
Moments which were very fruitful. My wife made me very happy. Those are moments I can never forget. And of course, my children. They have been very nice to me, and I'm happy that God enabled me to help them to grow up. But I cannot forget so many people who have helped me as and whenever I needed help. Those were also very touching and helpful moments. That's what I would say.
There's one last question I'd love to ask, and I remember when we were running,
Yes.
I asked you who inspired you, And if, you know, and you mentioned Kipchoge.
Yes.
Kipchoge. Tell me, what inspires you about Kipchoge? And is it Kipchoge the legend, or Kipchoge, he's still a legend still, but he's still active in running, the current Kipchoge?
Yeah.
So which Kipchoge are we talking about?
It is Kipchoge. He has, I think he's called Kipchoge
Kipchoge Keino.
Kipchoge, yeah.
Yes, the retired one.
Yes, the retired one. Yeah.
And as well, the current one, the one who's still active, is he someone you would want to maybe one day run alongside him?
I would be honored to run with Eliud Kipchoge.
Eliud.
Eliud Kipchoge has done wonders. Being the fastest man in running 26 miles, I would love to run besides with him. Anytime, I would love it.
What's the one thing, assuming that Kipchoge is watching this
Yes.
episode,
Yes.
what is the one thing that you would want to tell him?
I would like to tell Kipchoge that if God has enabled me to run for over 50 years, and at 74, I'm still running, he has a very good chance to continue to lower the world record for a marathon. And he has to remember that age is only a number. He can run for many more years, even for a longer time than the 50 years that I've been running. That is one message I would like to tell him. I would also like to tell those who feel that they are too old to run, that they can also run. They can also get involved in exercises. It is one sure way of keeping their bodies healthy and overcoming very many diseases. And they too, they can begin exercises. All they need is have that desire and the discipline, and continue doing it without stopping. And sooner or later, they will enjoy doing exercises.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Joshua J. Karanja, and this is the Men's Desk. Children of all ages, we love you. I am that man who was rejected by the com, and I'm seated here with the well of wisdom, and his name is?
My name is James Kariuki Masharia.
James Kariuki Masharia mwenyewe. You've heard his story. Now, if you would want to share your story with us, the email address is right here. If you would love to support our work and you love everything that we do, also, this is how you can support our work. And guys, mimi napenda kukaa na wazee. I love sitting with the guys who have gone before us, because you know why? I mean, with all this, you've had this conversation, you've had the nuggets of wisdom, and this is the path that we want to take. We take what we can and we better ourselves. And we look forward, especially for the men, being better men. See you on the next episode of The Men's Desk by LNN. Till next time, God bless. Mr. James,
Yes.
to long life.
Long life too.
Asante sana for sitting with this young man.
Thank you so
And
much.
accepting
Yeah, thank you.
this interview.
Thank you.
Alrighty? Alrighty, thank you so much.